Welcome back. TDA practice the lesson. Let's do it up and do it together. All right, in the course of the plot of the lesson, certain lessons affect the main characters and their interactions. Analyze how four different lessons affect the characters. Cite details to support your analysis. Well, we know analyze, we got the if and then, we break it down, boom. And then after that, we've got four different lessons. We got to find four. So analyze four different what? Lessons. So let's highlight both of those together. Please make your screen look like mine. So we're going to analyze four lessons in the story, the lesson. Wow, say less. Let's do it up. Read the text the first time, annotate along the way. Say less, of course. So the lesson. So I'll meet you at the park tomorrow for that game with the guys, right? Stan clutched the strap of his backpack with one hand and dribbled a basketball with the other as he bobbed and weaved alongside Matt on their way home from school. He looked eagerly at Matt, who was unusually quiet. So, we've got some dialogue. The questions being asked: is it Stan or Matt? Kind of still on the fence there. All right, we won't be annotating every slide, but many. He looked eagerly at Matt, who was unusually quiet. Normally on Friday afternoons, Matt would be laughing and enthusiastically darting around Stan as they took turns stealing the ball from each other, having their own one-on-one sidewalk game. But Stan stopped when he noticed the heavy expression on Matt's face. And I bet that's going to have something to do with Matt's preoccupation with the lesson or one of the four lessons in this story. "What's the matter, man?" he asked. "You know my neighbor who just moved next door to me?" Matt replied. "Well, he asked me to help him with his computer. He says he wants to be able to chat with his grandkids." Oh, poor old people and technology. Not always easy. "So I'm going over there tomorrow to hook him up." "That's no problem, dude." Stan smiled and began dribbling the ball again. "Because our game isn't till noon." "I don't think I can make it." "Oh, I wonder why not," Matt said with a sigh. "Because it might take me a long time to help him out. Mr. Amato is a nice guy and everything, but I'm not sure he'll be able to understand what I show him." Matt was thinking about his own grandfather, who was uncomfortable with high technology and needed help performing computer tasks. I noticed there's some computer tasks going down here. So is it going to be a lesson just about technology? Right? He's got expectations that Mr. Amato might have trouble with technology like his own grandfather. Let's see what's going on with Matt. "That's okay. See you Monday," said Stan. As Matt walked up to his front door, he heard music coming from Mr. Amato's house. Ooh, there's some music there, and I see some sheet music down here. Looks like Mozart. He likes to listen to the radio, just like Grandpa, Matt thought. He stood still for a moment, taking in the hypnotic sound of guitar music. Not rock, but classical, a solo guitar. I wonder what the differences are. It was beautiful and reminded Matt how he wished he could play like that. Sure, he'd taken a few lessons several years ago and learned to strum. Oh, I see that word, lessons, and we're looking for four of them. And learned to strum some simple chords, enough to stumble through a folk song or two. But the complex skill required to play well really frustrated him, and he never had the patience to stick with it. Ooh, I have a feeling that patience is going to be key, or a lesson that we learn about. So I'm going to go fast forward a little bit, and I've got my breakdown, right? My thesis is going to be one of the four lessons. So I'm going to switch here, and I'm going to make the text just a little bit smaller. Not that small. There we are. And I'm going to say that probably one of the lessons has to do with patience. Oh, that is not remotely big enough to see. There we are. Patience. Patience. Lord in heaven. Patience. So patience is going to be one of the lessons that he learns. I'm guessing. Okay. So computers soon took over as his passion, and he was able to comprehend or understand the intricacies of all kinds of software in no time flat. The latest high-tech gadgets fascinated him, and he was happy to be developing a reputation as the tech genius in residence at his school. He loved game playing, downloading the latest apps, and getting instant results for any task. Well, I see some tension between instant results and having patience for something. "That's okay. See you Monday," said Stan. As Matt walked up to his front door, he heard music. Oh, we already read that. Computers. Da-da-da. All right, right down here. Move that blue here. As he closed his front door, the guitar music drifting through his mind, Matt wondered what results he'd like to get the next day with Mr. Amato. We're wondering too. When Mr. Amato greeted Matt the next morning, the boy was surprised to see that the man's computer in the living room was turned on, the screen displaying how-to instructions for a social media website. So he's already having his expectations dashed, right? The two of them got to work right away. He's learning that he expected one thing and he got another, right? So maybe another thing that he'll be learning, I'm going to click on patience again, and so I'm going to put expectations versus reality. Let me adjust this. Expectations versus reality. Perfect, perfect. Please take a moment to type those two lessons into the computer right now. Here's the music to indicate that you should be doing so. Badoo. And there go that music. Let's get back to the story. So, slide 8. When Mr. Amato greeted Matt the next morning, the boy was surprised to see that the man's computer in the living room was turned on the screen displaying everything. Mr. Amato was rather a quick study, catching on almost immediately. That's what a quick study is, someone who catches on quick to Matt's instructions and explanations. Matt learned, and when you learn a lesson, that Mr. Amato had relocated to be closer to one of his daughters and grandkids. He wanted to keep in touch with now lived about an hour away. But it was it was what Matt learned later about Mr. Amato that really amazed him. The guitar music, right? And I'm wondering what amazed him. That he heard the night before was Mr. Amato's own playing. Whoa, his expectations are dashed again. It's taken me many years to develop my skills, he said. He said in response to Matt's questions, many years and lots of patience. So another thing that he learns, and this is kind of like patience, is that some things take a while, right? Nice, especially worthwhile things. Take a moment to type that yourself. All right, let's get back to finishing the story. It's a short one. Mr. Amato had actually performed in classical guitar concerts where he used to live and was considering giving free music lessons as a way to make friends in his new community. Matt jumped at the chance to try again at fulfilling a dream and take up his new friend's offer in exchange for Matt's ongoing computer help. He couldn't wait to tell Stan what had happened. What had happened? My man became best friends. He's learning a lesson. He's got to tell his best friend about a new best friend. Hey, I didn't expect to see you here, Stan said as he passed the basketball to a teammate. Basketball, you got to have teammates. Connection. The lesson went faster than I thought. Oh, and I see a little lesson here, and it looks like a light bulb. Aw. Matt laughed as he joined Stan and the rest of the guys on the court. And other lessons take time, he smiled to himself. Why are you smiling to yourself? Is it because you know that some things take time and that's a lesson you learned? Probably. All right, so we're supposed to find 4 different lessons. Patience, expectations versus reality. Some things take a while, right? And think about all of this happened because that he wanted to help someone else. So helping others. Now, I think some of these can go together. So for our body paragraphs down here, let's set up for some of the same things, especially in that first body paragraph. So go ahead and click over there. And if you want to copy and paste, you can. But let's go with patience and some things take a while. So one lesson you learned was that one should have patience and be prepared to invest time. Maybe you want to phrase it differently. By all means, you can. All right? Now, what else? Well, in our next body paragraph after that, we could talk about expectations versus reality. Another lesson learned was that a person's expectations are different than THAN reality. Perfect. All right, and then finally, we got our patience and being prepared to invest time helping others. Another lesson learned was that helping others can be rewarding. Now, those are the lessons that I saw. Now, what would you do with these body paragraphs? You would want to find out something to support it, right? What's something in the story that you know would support the idea that things require patience? I think there's even a quote at one point where there's patience. Oh, no, let me highlight. Let me highlight like a one. Patience, right? Another lesson learned was that a person's expectations are different. When did Matt expect something and find that it was different? Right? When was he surprised? And over here, I know I changed the color, but another lesson was he was helping. What did he get out of helping others? So you want to find some support for those. I'm going to let you go ahead and find that support now. But first, now that you've got this all set up, you've got your pre-writing. Click over here. You'll click the form to write the essay in. Click that. You'll put your name. My first name is Mr. My last name is Surface. There's a copy of the story. There's a rubric if you want to use that. And you're going to type your answer here. So you're going to be tabbing back and forth between your pre-writing here. I would suggest being on slide 10 here and your TDA here. All right, we're going to be conducting this in silence. This is your final. I'll be able to help you on the computer or on paper, and I'll have a little help station up front. Good luck. Go get them. Here we go.